Welcome to Somnus Visions, a place where gentle stories of humanity's journey and the future are whispered to soothe the mind. Here, we share calming tales woven with transformation and soft hope, all beneath a blanket of atmospheric music. If these stories bring you comfort or wonder, gentle listener, please remember to like and subscribe, supporting the light that helps new dreams grow. Tonight's story is The Light of the Last Library, a tranquil meditation on memory and the quiet strength of stories. We visit a forgotten place, Earth's last library, tended by a gentle archivist whose hands shield history from the silent darkness. Listen as each page turned echoes in the night, keeping what was once lost alive again. Drift with us into a world of candlelit promise where every whisper matters. Chapter 1. Ember, Among the Ashes. In the stillness of an endless night, there stands a library, alone yet shining. Warm golden light spills from its windows, painting gentle halos on the cool darkness outside. Within, ancient shelves bend beneath the weight of nearly forgotten tales. Between the stacks walks the archivist, whose footsteps make barely a sound, wrapping the library in soft comfort and careful peace. A hush clings to this quiet world. Dust floats on candle beams, swirling through the air like tiny memories that refuse to settle. The archivist's hands move patiently, fingertips gliding over spines veiled in cobwebs. Each book is a small universe, held together with hope and time. Tonight, as every night, comes the gentle ritual, choosing one silent volume, its cover faded, but its story waiting, patient still. Shadows dance across the walls, flickering in time with the archivist's gentle breath. Each step echoes softly through the hush, as though the library itself is holding its breath. The only sound is the tender fall of dust and the quiet anticipation that fills the space. Tonight's book is chosen slowly, as if every movement honors a promise that no memory will ever truly disappear. He settles among the shelves, sinking into a familiar chair, worn smooth by years of nightly stories. The air here is thick with longing, peaceful yet electric with all that has been kept safe. Soft fingers crack open the chosen book, the binding whispering its welcome as paper meets air. Around him, the past breathes gently through the silence, eager to be remembered word by word. The archivist begins to read. His voice is a river's murmur, carrying each syllable with care through the still air. Every word is an ember, glowing softly against the hush. The stories he reads were nearly lost, but here, their warmth lingers, refusing to fade. In the shelter of night, memory flickers bravely, refusing to be drowned out by the shadows surrounding this last sanctuary. Time slows within these walls. With every gentle turn of the page, a new world awakens. Gold dust hovers around old tales, bathing them in gentle light. The archivist's pulse beats in time with history. Each word read is a heartbeat, each story relived a defiance of forgetting. Between the pages, the hush deepens, broken only by the soft hush of paper and the archivist's patient sigh. His eyes drift from word to word, tracing over the careful script of centuries past. Each letter seems crafted for this very moment, their meaning kindled anew in the flicker of candlelight. The past gathers around him in a warm embrace, whispering its gratitude for being remembered. The library's glow grows deeper, pulsing softly with every story illuminated by the archivist's loving attention. Outside, the world is silent and unlit, but inside the library, every emotion hums just under the surface. Shadows slip by windows, lingering as if to listen. Flame and memory mingle, comfort wrapped in stillness. The archivist tucks a stray curl behind his ear, lovingly smoothing the aged paper as another page lifts, casting a dreamlike glow on his serene, thoughtful face. Sometimes, the archivist pauses, eyes closed, simply breathing the layered scents of paper, parchment, and old leather. Each inhale is a silent communion with every soul who ever held these stories close. The weight of time feels gentle in this space, transformed by care and quiet. His heart swells, filled by the trust placed in his keeping and the patience of words willing to wait for their moment anew. Tonight, as always, the darkness outside is softened by the glow within. The archivist is a gentle lighthouse, guiding memory home across endless waves of shadow. He whispers ancient lines, letting their music fill the quiet. The hush is sacred, carrying the hope that each story read or simply held will survive for just one night more. Gratitude settles around him, fragile and bright as starlight. The candlelight shivers as another page turns, a tiny miracle repeated 1,000 times. Each rustle lands softly in the vast quiet, weaving a tapestry of histories gently stitched together. The archivist's ritual is quiet but unbreakable, a promise spoken with each book opened. Though the world outside may forget, inside the last library, the heart of every story is guarded, cherished, and patiently rekindled anew. He reads until the candle's flame wanes and the book grows heavy in his hand. Around him, the library settles into deeper silence, stories nestling back onto their shelves like birds returning to roost. The final lines are spoken not to be heard, but to be felt, a silent assurance that nothing precious will slip completely into darkness. The archivist closes the book, holding it for a moment's reverence. In the hush that follows, hope lingers like the last ember in the ashes. The library glows gently, each story shining quietly within its wooden heart. The archivist rises softly, returning the book to its place, his touch sealing the memory inside. Again, the ritual is complete. The world may forget for a while longer, but here, among these ashes, a single ember continues to glow alive, unbroken, eternal. Chapter 2. The Whisper of Pages. As night seeps deeper into the heart of the last library, the archivist settles down with the book worn soft by countless readings. The hush around her is almost complete, broken only by the hush of pages turning. She cradles the ancient volume and prepares to share its fragile wisdom with a world that no longer looks for stories in paper and ink. Her voice rises in the silence, a gentle lilt that floats between rows of silent, sleeping books. Each word she reads seems to dance in the half-gloom, weaving through shadow and softness. The echoing aisles lean in, as if the library itself strains to listen. Stories that have slumbered for decades stir, drawn by the warmth of her rhythmic, soothing narration. The air shivers, barely noticeable, with the magic of awakening memories. The archivist's words are soft and steady, carrying the heartbeats of lives once lived and stories nearly forgotten. Every phrase, every pause, is received with reverence by the old wooden shelves. Dust motes swirl lazily, as if remembering when laughter and wonder filled this sanctuary each day. Slowly, the forgotten tale breathes again, words floating delicately on the archivist's lullaby-like voice. She reads not for an audience, but for the echoes and the shadows, for the spirits of narrative that hover gently in the beams of golden light. With every sentence, the silence in the library softens, as though comforted by her care. In the hush, stories old as the bindings themselves shimmer faintly at the narrator's call. Time folds softly around her, every syllable falling like a whisper into deep, restful pools. The memory of forgotten worlds flickers through the air, forests long vanished, lovers' partings, distant city lights and homecomings, all gently roused by the archivist's patient reading. Outside, The world is modern, bright, restless, and distant. But within the dim-lit aisles, something timeless stirs. The library listens, ancient wood and fragile paper cradling her voice. With every rise and fall, she anchors the drifting fragments of forgotten dreams, letting their light linger another night. The stories become more than words. They drift like motes in candlelight, serene and hopeful. The archivist's fingers trace the edge of the page, her movement unhurried, her breathing a quiet part of the atmosphere. When she pauses, the silence swells with expectancy, a tender space for each story to rest before it is dreamt again. In these spaces between words, memory finds its second breath, and the library's presence feels closer than ever. She reads of journeys once begun beneath alien stars and promises made in rain-soaked cities. Her voice is a thread, delicate and strong, reconnecting paragraphs to the pulse of dreaming listeners, real or imagined. The air smells of old parchment and secrets, each turning page sending a new memory gently swirling through the soft warmth of the night. Around her, the old shelves creak with quiet approval, settling as if to listen better. The archivist breathes in, her voice falling to a hush, and continues. Each word is chosen and cherished, woven into the hush with the patience of centuries. She trusts that the tales, spoken into darkness, will echo on in the stillness long after midnight passes. Memories, half lost, drift in from distant corners of the stacks. There is a whisper of a child's laughter, the scent of a summer storm, the ghost of a song once sung among friends. As she reads, these fragments join together, gathering warmth and shape. The library, wrapped in shadows, hums faintly, heart of all its stories quickening with soft wonder. Her reading is both ritual and lullaby, nurturing the fragile archives as though singing a cradle song. The archivist's voice knows each pause and resonance, shaping the silence as a potter shapes clay. The library sighs almost imperceptibly, grateful that at least one person still remembers the music that simple stories can make when carried lovingly through the night. Tonight, the tale is of a city made of glass, shimmering in perpetual dawn. With each spoken line, the vision unfurls quietly, a mother and child on a rooftop, hoping for rain. The archivist does not rush. She savors every image, letting it float gently into the hush, trusting that somewhere, the memory will be caught and cherished by dreaming minds. When her eyes lift from the page, she senses the library is listening even more closely than before. Shadows huddle near, soft with understanding. The pulse of the night matches her heartbeat, slow and even. Again she reads, her voice the only movementa. Gentle tide tracing over broken stone and ancient wood, mending the cracks with soothing cadence. Echoes of old laughter ripple in the quiet, riding on the archivist's lullaby tone. The words she speaks are gentle as falling dusk, brushing away the dust of centuries. Even when the story falters, losing its place to time, she gently restores it, repeating a favorite sentence or whispering a cherished line. The silence is no longer empty, but content, full of living memory. Her nightly reading draws to a close, but the energy she has awakened lingers. The last words settle into the shelves and air, promising that every story, no matter how faint, matters. The archivist closes the book with a soft sigh, her lullaby echoed by the library's gentle hush. Tomorrow she will choose another, and the whisper of pages will begin again. Chapter 3. echoes beneath the vaults. In the deep silence of the library, each word spoken by the archivist floats gently, carried through damp, golden air. The hour is late, and the hush is almost sacred, as if even the books themselves are listening. The shadows thicken and sigh, edged by faint beams of candlelight, as if the library inhales with memory, waiting for the story to continue. Each time the archivist's voice rises and falls, it feels as if a ripple passes beneath these ancient vaults. The sound lingers, curling through the forest of shelves, touching the cracked spines and silver-lettered titles. Somewhere in that hush, it seems a listener breathes with him, perhaps one who walked these rows long ago. His words become a bridge, suspending all present in tender reverence. The flickering candlelight seems to coax out shapes in the shadowed aisles. Some are tricks of the eye, others feel like guests unseen, drawn from memory by the ritual of quiet reading. A drift of dust spins upward, caught in the breath of stories now half remembered. The library holds each echo, folding them gently into its endless hush, whispering to the past and present in equal measure. Tonight, the archivist's voice is softer, scarcely more than a lullaby wrapped in warmth and velvety quiet. Stories and memories travel together, pressed firmly between each page turned, like petals in an ancient book. In this hour, boundaries blur. The living and the long gone seem to share the same breath. Each sentence spoken invites a gentle hush, a cradle for all that has come before. Shadows stretch across high arches, breathing in time with the rhythm of his words. Glints of gold dust float in the air, landing softly on gnarled oak tables and aging parchment. Memory is thick here, dense as velvet, wrapping every one seen and unseen in its embrace. The librarian pauses between lines, listening for the quiet footsteps of old ghosts who might join the circle of reverence. Sometimes, the archivist imagines he sees faint outlines near the shelves, not solid, but the pattern of absence shaped by longing. Perhaps they are echoes, remnants of readers whose devotion was so gentle, it left only kindness behind. The air hums with their presence, woven among the smell of paper and the sound of old pages turning quietly in the hush. With each passing moment, the library becomes less a building and more a living soul, a memory vessel for a fading world. Stories, half-spoken, nest around the vaulted ceiling. Even the silence seems to have its own voice, round and soft, inviting every listener closer. As the ritual continues, the archivist is both alone and surrounded, buoyed by all the echoes beneath these ancient arches. A breeze from some hidden vent sends a gentle flutter down one aisle. Pages tremble ever so slightly, as if the library itself is sighing. Every shelf is a monument to memories, each volume, a silent promise. The archivist breathes deep, scenting not just dust, but all the nights when laughter, quiet tears, and awe lingered here. The echoes wrap around him gently, like a favorite blanket. Candles flicker, as if whispering secrets, their light painting long shadows across rows of waiting books. The archivist's hands move with practiced reverence, stroking the binding of tonight's chosen story. The hush grows deeper, and the past feels close enough to touch. Every tiny sound a page turned, a whisper, a heartbeat joins in comforting chorus, renewing the bond between memory and the present moment. The archivist's voice slows, mellow as low music, words settling into the dust like gentle snow. Shadows grow longer, and the room darkens, the boundary between night and memory thins. For a moment, time feels delicate, hanging from the arches like a suspended cord. The stories told here tonight will not vanish, carried onward by the invisible audience drawn from ages past. A delicate hush blankets everything, so deep and fine that even a sigh becomes meaningful. The librarian pauses to savor it, the weight of histories, layered like gentle sediment. Among the dreaming shelves, he senses old hopes hovering, as though some half-remembered dream lingers just out of sight. Every echo beneath these vaults carries a thread of longing, spinning past and present into tranquility. Somewhere near the ceiling, a silver cobweb shivers in candlelight, catching the echoes as they rise. It is easy, in such a space, to believe stories never truly end. They linger, silk-like, in corners and crevices, comforting anyone who listens deeply enough. The archivist continues, his voice barely more than a murmur resting on velvet air, stitching together each memory with care and gentle persistence. Outside, the rest of the world sleeps or forgets, but within the library walls, nothing is lost. The scent of old wood and ancient ink settles, grounding all who enter in peace. The echoes beneath the vault swirl and eddy, cradling each word read aloud. Even when the lights dim lower, some secret warmth flows onward, unbroken, a quiet promise that transformation lives here. As the final paragraphs trickle from his lips, the archivist can almost hear the applause of absent readers, soft, respectful, like the settling of dust. These stories remain, folded into the heart of the library. Above and around, the vaults hold the mystery gently, guarding each moment of reverence and recollection. In this tranquil darkness, both memory and hope keep vigil. Tomorrow, the ritual will begin anew. Night deepens, pressing closer around the archivist and his silent audience. Yet there is no loneliness in Lee, an endless embrace, a tapestry woven of every story ever cherished. The echoes beneath the vaults fade slowly, blending past, present, and tomorrow into something whole. As candles dwindle, the library remains alive, a guardian of memory, a vessel for quiet transformation, holding every echo beneath its sacred arches. Chapter 4. When Dawn Touches the Silence. Within the stillness of the library, dawn's first light softly brushes against the last flicker of candle glow. The archivist sits quietly, tracing the edge of the old book in their hands, savoring the hush that has settled in the room. Outside, the city murmurs awake, but here, every shadow bends in gentle reverence to memory's delicate embrace. With a trembling sigh, the archivist closes the book, its pages folding the night stories within their gentle creases. Candles dwindle into their waxen pools, and the great hall holds its breath as a grateful silence tumbles softly through the golden air. This is more than the end of a reading. It is a quiet act of devotion, honoring words that once soared and now settle in the heart. In these sacred moments, gratitude becomes a whisper carried on dawn's pale fingers. The archivist whispers thanks to the library itself, to silent shelves, to books whose dreams have barely faded. It is a quiet liturgy. Between heartbeats and dust motes, memory awakens, shimmering gently. Here, stories are not merely preserved. They are cherished, lived, and passed quietly into the morning's gentle care. The changing light washes over the marble floors, uncovering hidden corners and lost words. The archivist lingers near the shelves, fingers trailing over leather-bound spines, cherishing the humble promise of every book, even those never opened. In the hush, they recall how every story has shaped the world beyond these doors, weaving golden threads through the tapestry of memory and dawn. Above, the great window flushes with the gentle blush of morning. The library shadows begin to shrink as hope tiptoes in, delicate and new. The archivist feels the fragile pulse of the day, a rhythm matched only by their own reverence. Each book on the shelves glows with promise, quietly awaiting its chance to be remembered, its voice to be lifted on the hush of dawn. Between each echoing footstep, silence becomes a luminous tapestry binding present to past. The archivist feels the privilege of standing guard over these stories, fragile, enduring, and infinitely treasured. Flickers of gratitude sparkle as candlelight finally surrenders to morning, drawing gentle lines on the archivist's face, illuminating the unspoken bond shared with every bound and whispered memory surrounding them. The last library stands as a beacon, its light warming the city's quiet heart. People outside catch glimpses of golden glow as the world slowly stirs. For some, the library exists only as a legend, a rumor whispered in the lanes. But for the archivist, the promise remains. Hope, remembrance, and solace offered to all, with hearts open to wonder, especially in the newness of dawn. In the hush before morning fully arrives, the archivist pauses, closing their eyes to drink in the subtle music of silence. Each breath is slow, carrying with it a sense of sacred duty. There is solace in this space in giving thanks, in honoring what was read and what will be read. Here, silence is not emptiness, but a promise that every story matters. Sunlight pools across the piles of books, gilding them in luminous gold. The last traces of candle smoke drift upward, twining with motes of dust. The archivist wonders what dreams linger in the stories left unopened, what solace they might offer to future readers. Even as pages close, their quiet magic lingers, resistant, echoing, softly filling the quiet morning air. The archivist smiles softly, honoring the fragile, enduring power of stories. Each tale, even the most delicate, has survived 1,000 dawns and countless hands. Reading them aloud transforms fleeting memory into something living, pulsing. As new sunlight fills the hall, the archivist feels the weight and wonder of this tradition, simple, vital, and infinitely precious in a world so changed. All across the city, windows catch the golden light, reflecting a promise that never breaks. Though the world outside grows quieter, the library's glow endures. The archivist knows that stories are a lifeline, a bridge that gently binds what was lost to what may yet be found. In these tranquil mornings, hope flutters softly, unwavering, just as each book's memory flickers on. There is wonder in the silence as dawn deepens. The library's heart beats slow and steady, a sanctuary for weary souls. The archivist whispers gratitude again, sensing the legacy of countless readers and writers who came before. Their presence lingers in the hush, assuring that memory and meaning will not vanish, but will live and shine with every new morning light. Stories are like fragile seeds, the archivist muses, each one cradled lovingly in darkness until the time is right to share it. With care and wonder, they tend the last library, believing deeply that stories will bloom anew for those in need of solace. The quiet power of memory is enduring, its promise shimmering in every ray of dawn that filters through forgotten shelves. As the first footsteps echo on distant streets, the archivist bows their head in thanks and devotion. The night's reading is complete, but the bonds formed between reader and story remain unbroken. The last library, gentle and steadfast, stands ready to welcome the next day, its light, an invitation soft, unwavering, promising comfort to all who seek wisdom in the silence of morning. In the hush of early light, the archivist sits a moment longer, feeling the world's gentle transformation. The library glows, not only with sunlight, but because every story within it is cherished. In a world remade, this place endures a beacon of memory, gratitude, and quiet wonder. As dawn completes its embrace, solace lingers for all who listen to the softest stories in the silence.